So I think some of you have heard this gatha. This is a gatha found in the Jataka, Sivijātakaṃ. The short version you can find it in the Chariya Pitaka. After he has given made the sacrifice or donation of his eyes, finally the Bodhisattva attained the Sammā Sambuddhahood. After preaching this past story, at the end, he preached this gatha, which gives us a very important message. The imperativeness of this message is not only for the ones who aspire to be a Buddha, but also for all of us. The philosophy, the idea behind this is very vital in our practice. So, this the story of Siviraja is found in two places, in Jataka and in the Chariya Pitaka Pali. The Chariya Pitaka Pali begins with the gatha Kappecha sata sahasse chaturocha asankhiye ittantare yancharitam sabbaññutaṃ bodhipācanaṃ. Whatever I have done, whatever the practice I have made, full paramis that I have fulfilled throughout this long period, all became causes for my enlightenment as a Sammā Sambuddha. In the second gatha, he said, nothing, just forget about what he has done in the entire period of parami. But in Chariya Pitaka, he will be expounding only the stories which happen in this Baddha Kappa. It doesn't contain all the Jataka, but some amount of very important, magnificent stories of the Buddha's Bodhisattva sacrifices. So we shall learn the story first and then go into the message of this Dhamma talk. A country called Sivi, which had the capital named Aritha, was controlled by a king, ruled by a king called Sivi. So in his palace, the Bodhisattva, the great being, was born, and at the age of 16, he mastered all the skills in the city of Taksila. He went to the Taksila, that city, and then he came back and showed all his mastery to the father. Father was pleased and bestowed him the wise position of the wise king, Yuva Raja, wise king. Then later, when the father died, he ascended to the throne, and he was known as the great king called King Sivi Maharaja. His original name was Sivi Kumara. So after ascending to the throne, this great king, the Bodhisattva, placed 6 dānasalas in the city. 4 in the city gates, 4 city gates, and 1 at the center of the city, and 1 in front of his palace. In all these places, daily offerings were made with 100,000 kahapana gold coins. Kahapana means coins that were used. So on every uposatha, that is to say 8 Attami, Chaturdasi 14th, and Pannarasi on 15th, the king himself visited the places and observed how the functions, the donations were made. Every day 600,000 coins were used for donations. Everyone who came to the donations, everyone who met the king was always pleased and given whatever they wanted, whatever they asked, that was given. So the king Sivi, once in a full moon day of 15th, sat on his throne and contemplated about his dana parami. He saw that he has given almost every external object, money, horses, elephants, many things, whatever they asked, they have given it. Then he thought, I haven't given any internal organ or internal ajjatika dana to anyone yet in this life. There are 2 types of ajjatika dana. One is offering body parts such as eyes, hands, flesh, blood, heart, the head, whatever body part one needs. And it also includes sacrificing the entire body. It means the constitution of all the body parts. That was the dana he gave in Sasa Jataka. It also includes offering the entire body, with body parts. The second type of ajjatika dana is completely sacrificing his life, dedicating his life to become a slave of another person, a slave. So afterwards, his entire life belongs to that person, and he can do whatever he wants with the bodhisattva's life. He will work their entire life as a slave to the other person. So these are the two types of ajjatika dana. Then he thought, it's better if I get an opportunity today to give a ajjatika dana. May someone come to me asking for a body part. May someone come to me asking for a slave. I will abandon my kinship and become a slave. And he started to contemplate. A contemplation that is unique to the great bodhisattvas. He kept on thinking, if someone wants eyes, please come to me. I will remove my eyes and offer him. If someone needs my heart, flesh heart, I will remove it from my body and offer to him. If someone needs any flesh, I will cut it with my own knife and offer to him. If someone needs blood, I will cut my body parts and let him drink or get the blood, or I'll jump into a machine so my entire body would crush and the blood would come out. If someone needs a slave, come to me, I will offer my entire life and work for him throughout my entire life. So he kept on thinking like this. This is one of the unique contemplations of a Mahabodhisattva. In Vesantara life, he did this at the age of 8 or 7, in one of the ages, 8 or 7, around that age. And the entire world shook because of his great contemplation. So when he was doing this, in the Sivirājacariya, as the king Sivi, it affected the Sakka's great seal, Pandu Kambala Asana, and Sakka felt it. So when his contemplation was being done, the Sakka felt it. Then he contemplated, he inquired, who is the one who could affect me even? Then he saw the contemplation made by the King Sivi, Then he told to his retinue, the Devas, the great King Sivi is making the contemplation of a Bodhisattva. I want to check whether he can really offer as he contemplates. So I want to check him. So he went into the human world in the guise of a Brahmin, old Brahmin, blind Brahmin without eyes. So King Sivi was traveling on the elephant back to the Dhanasalas. Then this Brahmin, the Sakka, the Brahmin stood in a higher place. He spread his arms and wished the welfare to King Sivi. So King Sivi approached. So when the Brahmin wished for the welfare of the king, he approached there on the elephant back and he asked, yes, Brahmin, what do you want? Then this Brahmin said, the Sakka in the guise of a Brahmin, he said, your fame for offering has spread throughout the entire world. I don't have any eyes. My eyes are destroyed. So I don't have any of the eyes. I'm a blind person. Just give me one eye so I can see the world. You have 2 eyes. You just sustain with one. This is not something that you can ask from a king. If you ask this from a king, surely you'll be executed in the very next moment. Not proper to ask from a normal citizen even, normal human. He's asking from a king. So this was a very special moment. So at that moment, the King Sivi had a doubt. How could he know that I am willing to offer eyes on the very moment, the very day I had the first contemplation of offering something internal? Then he asked, did anyone admonish you? Did any Deva admonish you? Then the Sakka, without falling into lie, to become a lie, he said, yes, there is the God known as Sakka, who is known as Maggavihāri to the humans. He advised me, since I want an eye, he said, go to King Sivi and he will offer you something. He will offer you his eyes. So then King Sivi at the same moment became happy and sad. He felt how unlucky or how bad it was. If I had this thought before, Sakka would have known and sent me some beggar. The very moment I thought, my wish is accomplished now. So he became sad that he was late in his life to give a dana. At the same moment he was very happy. Now he could offer his eyes to someone. This is something extraordinary. So at that time, King Sivi had a thought. If Sakka had sent this person, there's a very high probability that my donation would be successful. What is successfulness? It would fit his eyes, because it was advised by the Sakka. Because Bodhisattva doesn't do donations which are useless. He only gives an internal body part to someone who is in need. If someone comes to kill him, an enemy comes and asks for a body, he doesn't give body parts. He gives it to actually someone who is actual need. Maybe he's hungry, or maybe he actually needs a body part. Only then he gives. Then he thought, my dana would not be a waste, because he was sent by Sakka. So maybe my eyes would fit him. So he thought, it's not proper to offer on the road. I should better take him to the palace. And he took him to the palace. So entire country got to know our king is going to donate the eyes, because after donating eyes, you cannot control a country. So people gathered. So at that time, everyone gathered, the wives, the generals, all the ministers, citizens, everyone gathered around the palace, in the palace, and they begged the king, don't give eyes. You can give anything. You can give whatever amount of money you want. You can give the elephant, the royal horse, whatever you want. Make him a palace, make him a house. Don't give the eyes, because after you have given the eyes, you cannot you cannot rule the country. A blind man cannot rule the country. Giving eyes means you are going to abandon us. A king like you, we won't get a king like you. We want to be ruled by you. So because of us, do not give these eyes. They were begging, they were crying. The Bodhisattva said, he didn't even listen to their voices. Then he called the doctor, son, please remove my eyes as soon as possible. Do not delay this. At that time, the ministers questioned him. Venerable sir, you are a very wise person. You are very intelligent. Why are you sacrificing your eyes? While you are experiencing the present life, all these luxuries as a king, why are you sacrificing your eyes for pleasures, luxuries in a life that you have not seen in a future life? This doesn't suit you. Because you see the luxuries in this life. If you offer your eyes, you are losing them. Why are you thinking about something that has not come? So the answer of Bodhisattva was, I am not giving these for luxuries in my future lives. Every Bodhisattva who has walked on this path to become a Samma Sambuddha has done this. I am offering this as a fulfillment of my paramis, to be the enlightened person one day. Think, he didn't have a doctrine. Now we know what is the path of a Bodhisattva. There was no Buddhist doctrine to him. So this was completely, he was following his own path. None of the others knew whether it is, even they do not know whether it is possible to be a Samma Sambuddha. There was no reason for others to believe in this. So the only Bodhisattva's wish is Bodhisattva's vision. He was alone in this path. Everyone was pursuing, do not do this. But he said to the doctor, son, please remove this. I don't want to delay my offering. So at that moment, the doctor thought, it's not proper for a doctor like me, well-trained doctor like me, to remove the eyes using a weapon. I will do it smoothly. He applied a special medicine on a blue lotus and covered the right eye of the Bodhisattva. The medicine was very strong. It affected his eye and the eyes turned. The eyeball turned, which was very painful. Then he again applied the medicine with the blue lotus. At that time, it popped up out of the bracket. It didn't come completely out, it came out. Then he applied for the third time. It came out and it was hanging with the sinews. It was falling down. The pain was immense, unbearable. At that time, the wives and the ministers kneeled down near his legs and said, because it was not still given, it could be put back. Please do not do this. Please don't do this. Don't give your eyes. It can be still replaced. The Bodhisattva said to the doctor, do not delay my dana. Please cut this and I want to offer. Then the physician held the eye with his right hand, cut it with his left hand with using a small scissor, and then placed it on his hands. So Bodhisattva saw his left eye with his right eye with his left eye, and then called the Brahmin and offered it to him. And it was the Sakka. So he placed his eye in his eye and it was fixed. It was fixed. So it was like a blossomed blue lotus. So Bodhisattva looked at this incident with his left eye. He was so happy, the happiness was immense. Immediate, because the Brahmin asked just for one eye. Just the one eye he wanted. Bodhisattva said, I want to offer the other. So he called the physician and asked, remove this, please remove this. And remove the other eye and also placed it. Then that day he became permanently blind. Then the Brahmin went out of the city, the Sakka went into the palace. So after the donation was done, he became permanently blind. After some time, flesh grew in his eye sockets like two balls. It was two balls filled with flesh balls. It was very beautiful, it says. He looked nice actually. Then he thought after some time, it's useless to have, I cannot rule a country being blind. So he offered the entire kingship to his ministers and went in to become an ascetic near a certain river. But he requested two things. Please give an attendant so he could offer me water whenever I want. Drinking water, water for usage. Then also make a rope to my defecating, urinating places, toilets, so I could walk there hanging on the rope. So then while he was living so, the Sakka had a thought, I should go and replace his eyes. Because it's I who took this in order for him to fulfill his parami. He approached the Bodhisattva, and the Bodhisattva, who are you? I'm the Sakka. I came here to give a boon. You can ask for any wish. So Bodhisattva said, I have a lot of money in the palace. I have already earned a lot of money. I have anything. I don't need any of them. Because I am blind. I am wishing for my death. I don't want to continue my life. At that time the Sakka asked a question. Are you wishing for death? Is it because you don't like your life? Or is it because you don't like this blindness? He said, I don't like the blindness. Then he said, he advised the Bodhisattva, dana is not only for the following lives, it also have effects in the present life. You have done enormous dana. Do a saccakiriya determination, so your eyes will be replaced again. They would become, you will get the sight again. So later on, when the Sakka requested him, do a saccakiriya determination with your donation, he made two determinations. In this very life, whoever has come to me, I have not sent them back without fulfilling their desire. They were never, I never made them disappointed. I never disappoint them. I always fulfill. I have given whatever they have asked. So with this truth, may I get eyes. So one eye appeared. Then he made another determination. On that day, very special dana, when the Brahmin asked for the eyes, I donated them, enduring all the severe pain with happy mind. I never had the second thought whether I should give or not. And I never had a regret throughout my entire, till now. So with this truth, may I get my second eye. Then second eye appeared. And the story goes that he started to rule the country, and this eye was given a special name. It's called Satcha Paramita Cakkhū. Why is that? The Kammaja eye that we obtain with our normal life, when it is destroyed, you cannot replace it. When a Kammaja Santati Sisa is broken, you cannot bring it back. And to one whose eyes are destroyed, he cannot get Dibba Cakkhū, because Mansa Cakkhū is a preliminary factor for Dibba Cakkhū. So what is the name to call this special eye? It's called Satcha Paramita Cakkhū, because he obtained it with the Satcha Kiriya. Satcha Kiriya is one of the factors of Satcha Parami. Then he starts. So to end this story, after relating this story, the Buddha said the following two stanzas. Dadamānassa dentassa dinnadānassa me sato cittassa aññathā natthi bodhiyāyeva kāraṇā. So while the physician was removing my eyes during the process, which was a very painful process, dentassa, while I was offering my eyes with my hands, dinnadānassa me sato, after I have offered, cittassa aññathā natthi, I never had a second thought whether I should give or not, or whether I never had a thought of regret. cittassa, aññathā, natthi. I enjoyed the entire my donation. Bodhiyāyeva, that became the cause for my sabbaññutaṃ jnana attainment. Then he said, Name dessā ubho cakkhū attānaṃ dessiyo sabbaññutaṃ piyaṃ mayhaṃ tasmā cakkhū adāsaha. It was not that I hated my eyes. It's not that I didn't like my life, because after that I was a blind person. I took that challenge. I know I cannot see my life again. I couldn't see the world again. It's not that I didn't like my eyes or I didn't like my life, because I like the sabbaññutaṃ jnana more than these two. So that's why I sacrificed my eyes. So what does this mean? Our bodhisattva reached this state of samma sambuddhahood. He gave up the things that he liked. It's not a smooth path. It's not a path with red roses. It's a difficult path. In order to reach that, he had to sacrifice. What are the things he had to sacrifice to become a Buddha? These are not simple things. The money he has earned. He has to sacrifice the kingdom. Kingdom is, some princes kill their father to become the king, right? Something very attractive. He has to sacrifice a kingdom. He has to sacrifice his wife's children, his body parts. Even he has to become a slave, dedicating his entire life. So this is not an easy path. He is a wise person that he would even preach a Dhamma talk about the value of the eyes, value of the body, value of the life. But still he sacrificed it because he knew the benefit of becoming a Buddha. Benefit to himself and also the benefit of the entire world. So this is something a wise man should do with courage. You should evaluate the benefits of the things that we like. It's not that the Bodhisattva didn't like Madhi. It's not the Bodhisattva didn't like Jaliya or Kannajina. He loved them a lot. But he had to sacrifice in order to reach his final task. So therefore, whoever we are, if we have a goal, if we can evaluate the benefits of our final goal and things we like, sometimes we need to sacrifice our desires. Sometimes we need to give up things that we admire, things that we like the most. So only then we'll be able to reach the final goal, which is of much great sublime value. Just to think about the Bodhisattva's life. When we read the Jatakas, we may feel it's a life of heroics. No. It is a life that if you analyze it deeply, anyone would be terrified. He has given eyes more than the stars in the sky. When you go out, you can see. Now think these lives. After dedicating the eyes, he is a blind man. He can do nothing. The entire glory is gone. If he donated his hands, he is handicapped. In some lives, he died as a handicapped person, disabled person, a blind person, a deaf person. Think he offered the eyes in a long lifespan life? 1000 years he offered in the 100 years. 900 years he has to live as a blind person, right? So in most of the lives, Bodhisattva, we read the very special stories, his heroics. No, in most of the lives, he ended up as a loser. He ended up a man without limbs. He ended up blind. He ended up poor. There was no one to take care of him. That's the place where Yasodhara comes into play. Only a wife of such caliber would take care. Yasodhara was the special lady. Without her, he will never fulfill. He will never become a Buddha without her. No, it's not possible. So, the life of the Bodhisattva was not a path of red roses. Not a bed of red roses. It was a path full of hardship that analyze this one by one. Sacrificing eyes, you would say sadhu, sadhu. If your father has sacrificed eyes, how would we feel? Because you have to take care of him whole life. If your father was a king and he offer his kingdom to someone whom he doesn't know, what would happen to the prince? How would he feel? He gives the entire property to someone, how would the son would feel? Would have given him something, but not the entire thing. So therefore, life of the Bodhisattva is not something easy. He did it not because he didn't like the others whom he lived with. He liked the sabbaññutaṃ most. So therefore, when you have a goal, maybe to study the entire Tipitaka, to be successful in meditation, to attain jhana, or maybe to attain Maggaphala in this life or future, even to be a Buddha. So that has to be your ultimate goal. We need to sacrifice things that we like. Without sacrificing them, we'll never be able to reach that final task. So as monks, the followers of a great being, of the great being, who made the utmost sacrifices throughout the samsara to reach the highest position in the entire universe, we should be ready to make sacrifices in order to reach our final destination. So I wish you all the best and wish you all the success in this journey towards this final liberation called Nibbana as we aspire. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.